liking it? To be all by yourself like that. Yeah. Yeah, I know. But he's weird, you know? But I'm surprised he isn't looking at us right now. To be all by yourself like that. Yeah. Yeah, I know. You're so fine. You're so cool. I need you. And I think that if you thought about it, you know you need me too. 'Cause I want you. I want you. I want you. I want you. And if I could, I'd squeeze your hands so tight. Every night I would cry. I'd wrap my arms around you and snap every morning you're right. 'Cause I want you. I want you. You're so smart. You break my heart. I like you. And I think that if you thought about it, you know you like me too. 'Cause I want you. 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 If I could, I'd kiss your lips so hard, your entire face would prove. Write your name in blood on every wall, it would make the evening news. I'd chain our feet together so that you can never leave. I'd make you love me so much you'd have to ask permission to breathe.
So I guess we're on. We are on. Are we live right now? Holy fucking shit! Woo! We're doing a live show. We're doing live. You're not seeing anything. I think there's a delay. So yeah, it's live. So we this is a fun time. Am I getting feedback from the Facebook thing?
Not seeing anything. I think there's a delay.
Yeah, it's all good. Boom.
Sweet.
All right, how's it going, Nicole?
It's going.
I am Oscar,
I'm Nicole.
and this is dating another path to suicide.
That it is.
So I keep getting questions about the suicide part because people are really sensitive to it.
They are. I wasn't going for
And I'm just like, well, I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory.
PC. Well, I mean, have they ever dated? Maybe they wouldn't be so sensitive.
Right, emotional fucking suicide, dude. Yeah, I mean it's self-explanatory. So I don't know, man.
Now, if you have a problem with the name, go on some dates.
Go on some dates and you'll figure the fuck out. You'll feel like you want to commit suicide. I don't know about you guys. We're doing a live show. I mean, we do live shows all the time, but today's live. Like
we're liver.
on more live.
On location.
Live on location.
Right.
That's what it is. See, Kate has experience with this. Thank you,
That's right.
Kate. She's a pro. And we have an audience. Hi, guys. Woo!
Ow, ow.
All right. It's a good time, man. What are we talking about today, Nicole?
We're talking about exes.
The X-Files.
Yes, exactly.
Woo! The
No.
X-Files. The X-Files is because you kind of stash them away in a filing cabinet.
If you're wise.
Their body parts or like the actual people?
The fact that they exist, yeah, just.
They exist, but so I keep telling people I was doing a pitch of they are exes. Not everybody wants them.
To have them?
But everyone has them.
No, that's true.
Everyone fucking has them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not quite an STD, but almost quite the same. almost equally as stigmatizing.
Comparable, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kind you can't really get rid of.
I don't know. Well, I mean, there's exes that you just want to keep away.
Every
Fuck,
single
dude.
one of my exes, I wish would just stop existing. Like, I don't need you to live on Earth anymore. I'm done with you.
What is it? What is it about him? It's not the marriage.
No, not my ex-husband. No,
No.
He was a good dude, but I would still be fine if he no longer existed.
Life would just be easier.
Life would just continue.
Someone blew my mind earlier before we came on, and they were saying like we are all somebody else's ex.
That's true.
And I had not thought about it that way. I
Oh,
was like,
I've thought
I'm
about it
somebody
that
else's
way.
ex. That's fucking weird.
I remember when me and my ex-husband got divorced, we like had this like pact. We were like, we're gonna be friends and it's gonna be cool. And if the person that we starts dating has a problem with it, we're gonna tell him to kick rocks.
Right,
And then he
yeah.
got with this girl who like couldn't handle him being friends with me, so we're not friends anymore. So you know, it just goes to show you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it just some of them you need the time. I think you've talked about this.
Yeah.
You need the time. You need the buffer, right? But then I always want to kind of like it's not like I'm collecting people, but it'd be nice to be able to maintain that friendship.
Well, I think with
Can
certain,
you? Yeah.
certain people, I don't know. I think being friends with exes is really, really difficult because I don't feel like there are a whole lot of just straight up 50-50 breakups where both parties are like, this just ain't working. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
somebody usually still has feelings. And I think
Okay.
that trying to navigate that friend territory is really tricky because you can't necessarily be forthcoming about how you feel. And,
Yeah.
You know, like what if you're just hanging around staying friends because you hope that you guys can get back together at some point or something? You know what I mean? Like,
It's hard. I mean, I think regardless, but I think I feel like it's possible.
yeah.
You know.
Do you?
I feel like it's possible. I feel like I do have like, exes who are friends.
Okay.
And we'll get a coffee every now and then, but it's not like I'm like hanging out with them all the fucking time.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
That's a different story.
I don't have any friends who are exes.
No?
No.
Or exes who are friends. How do you put that?
I'm not sure. I have like some.
FedEx.
I have a friend that I
Fexes.
like dated, but it was never
Plug.
serious too. You gotta all like.
Okay, so that takes me to my other point.
Okay.
Nicole. How do you qualify as an ex? What's the qualifier?
If you guys ever were at a point where you considered yourselves to be in a relationship together, then I guess I don't know. I disqualify people all the time. Like I dated a guy for like a few months and then we broke up and then I decided I really didn't like him as a human being. I was like, no, he's not an ex.
He's
I'm
no
just-
longer. So you
he's
can
just
so
stripped
people
from the
can
record.
people can be taken off the ex list.
I guess. I mean, they're your exes. You can do whatever the hell you want with
so
that information.
So I was engaged to this girl once, right? And she told me one day, she's like, "No, if I ever run into you, I'm not even going to acknowledge you. I'm not even going to tell people I knew you." I'm like, what? That's fucking hurts, bitch.
Brutal.
Dude, that's messed up, man. I was like, but at the same time, she's the one ex that I just cringe.
Well, she was batshit. Though,
Yeah,
right? Okay.
she's the one I hear her voice, I cringe and I hide. If it's in a public place, I hide from this person, dude.
Yeah.
I cannot, like, just the sound of her voice. It's like nails on a chalkboard to me.
Well, that's fair. I mean, that's how
Oh,
it goes. I think there are some exes that I cringe when I think about because I'm just like,
just thinking
oh
about them?
God, my judgment.
Well, just your judgment. You can't believe that you were there.
Or I can't believe that I actually considered like entering into a relationship with this fucking wacko. Like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, you don't. Here's the thing. You don't know what cards they're holding before you start dating them.
you should. You definitely should.
But how can you?
Ask the questions you want answers to.
here's the thing: we hear the answers and we don't want to fucking listen to it.
That's true. That's true too.
Yeah.
There's an
really-
audience question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so when dealing with exes, so
Yeah.
you imagine this person is the worst person in the world, but then again, you dated them. How does that work in your in your scheme of thinking?
Like,
Well,
what does that
because
say
they were
about
fucking
you?
liars.
Really?
They conned me into dating them. I'm just kidding. No, I don't know.
I think you kind of attract what you put out. So I feel like if you
Okay.
were with somebody who was super toxic, maybe you were a little toxic at that
There you go.
juncture too.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's what I like. I look back at like fucked up people that I was with, and I was like, man, I was a train wreck at that
No,
time.
absolutely. Like, yeah, with the people I was dating, I was like, oh, I mean, they were a nightmare in hindsight, but I wasn't a daydream either, dude.
I was in a bad place.
Horrible. Yeah.
Right. And
I
it's
was-
easy to attract shitty people when you're putting out shitty vibes.
Yeah, and then you keep in mind, man, I'm an alcoholic. So and like I would do a lot of drugs. So a lot of me, the people and the women I was hanging out around with were doing the same crazy shit.
Right,
I
you
was,
collect
dude.
people you can party with.
Right,
That's-
right. Like they supplied the cocaine, and I did, and I brought the booze in the party. I don't know, man.
No, I get that. I would collect people like that too.
Yeah?
Like, you have like certain people like, okay, this is the guy I do coke with. This is the guy that I get shit faced drunk with.
Yeah. No, it's I mean, there's an ex that I think I've had. What I like doing is like I don't like doing it, but I'll watch a show or a movie and I'm like, oh, I dated somebody like that. And the show I'm thinking of is Girls. And one of the worst characters ever written, one that I despise, is Hannah.
All of those characters are despisable.
Right, Kate? Okay. They're just like Hannah. And this girl that I dated, she's Hannah in fucking Carnate.
What are her qualities?
She's just like a self-centered fucking narcissist.
Oh, I've dated those.
Yeah,
Those are
like,
fun.
but absolutely, just like everything's a crisis. Everything's about them all the time. It's just
Always a victim.
always a fucking victim.
Like everything's someone else's fault.
Yep.
Right. So
Yeah.
I have a story to share with you.
Yeah.
This happened last night. It was like it was prepping me. The universe was prepping me for this. So we were hosting a party for my girlfriend. And mid-party, I get a Facebook Messenger message, right? And it says, "Hey, come over." I'm like, "Why?" I had to check because she's married now, and she has a different last name. And I was like, "Who?" I'm like, "Who?" I'm not gonna say her name. I'm like, "Who is this?" So I had to double check, and I'm like, "Oh, it's her." This is weird. I'm like, "What? Why?" She's like, "I'm having a party. This is my address." I said, "I'm kind of hosting a party right now, but thanks, It's really strange. What I found even stranger was that we're not friends on Facebook. She didn't have Facebook Messenger, because it has like invite her to Facebook
Yeah.
Messenger kind of deal. So this girl was in the middle of a party, like around midnight, actively having to seek me out on Facebook and send me that message.
There was no party.
I'm like, and she's married. And I'm like, what the fuck was happening, dude?
That's weird.
But it gives you a little ego boost.
I guess so.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I was like, all right.
I am wanted.
But it's because I think it comes down to is like someone wins the breakup. Someone always wins the breakup.
You think so?
Absolutely.
He's right.
Yeah.
Who defines winning or losing in a
Yeah, I
breakup?
get what
If they block
constitutes
you,
a
we've
win.
talked about this, and I think if they block you on social media, you fucking won.
I think so too.
And if after the fact they reach out to you,
You double one.
You double one, dude.
No,
I'm like,
it reinforces that you know you won.
yeah, dude. So that's a total ego boost. I felt real fucking good after that.
I have an ex that still sends me like weepy emails and shit like that, begging for
man.
me back. That means I won,
Yikes.
right?
Right.
Because I
Right.
just
Totally.
ignore them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay, so I've had to go make an amends to like ex-girlfriends.
Oh, yeah,
you know?
I've made amends
You've
to
had to do that. So
ex-boyfriends.
being like, hey, sorry, I was a fucking asshole. This is my part. I don't expect anything back. And I've gotten some like, okay, cool. I'm glad you're doing well. Or some other ones like, I'm glad you're doing well, but stay the fuck away from me.
I've gotten to just stay the fuck away from me.
Like
It's-
you were a nightmare.
Yeah,
Dude,
exactly.
like why are you talking to me right
Yeah.
now, dude?
Yeah,
And
I've had a
it's-
couple people.
So
just
that I've been the horrible ex.
yeah, so have I.
Oh my god, and it's not a good feeling.
No, it's
Having to go
not.
back and beg for forgiveness, just for some. It's not even for closure. It's not like a high fidelity thing.
No.
It's not a high fidelity thing of like trying to figure out like
No.
where I went wrong.
No,
But it's
I
more
know
of
what
like
went wrong.
right. Like I know where I went wrong, but it's more of like I need to be like, oh, this was my part. I need to be able to live with myself. because I felt real fucking bad and guilty. You know,
Yeah.
so you go back and say sorry.
Yeah.
It's not a good feeling. But there is high fidelity ones.
I didn't
like-
mind the making amends.
No,
part.
I think no, but there's the other ones where it's like I said, that like the book and the movie that where you go back and you just want to figure out. Well, you're a narcissist and you want to figure out where you went wrong,
Yeah. No, that's true. That is
right?
true. Yeah.
Have you ever done that?
Tried to figure out where I went wrong. It's always been so blatantly obvious. I fucked someone else, or like, there's
It was that obvious.
yeah, like I don't really go out without a bang. Like,
No pun
But
intended. Hey, going out with a bang.
Get a little
hey,
gong.
that's my territory. The puns, dude. Take it easy, man.
but yeah, no, I think whenever a relationship is ended, I've never really had to do a whole lot of like mystery work to figure out what happened.
Yeah.
Like it was never.
I think we all always kind of know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's a good thing with like having done some like work on yourself is like being pretty real with yourself and like
Yeah.
knowing when you fucked up and just having a good handle on the
Yeah.
fact that you can be a disaster.
Well, no, absolutely. I mean, and there's some exes that you can't get rid of. I mean, my kid's mom.
Yeah, she's there forever.
She's there for fucking ever.
Yeah.
I mean, and we're. I hear some laughs. Yeah, come on, guys, participate a little bit.
Well, like, okay, so when I
Yeah.
first started dating the guy that I'm with now, he
Yeah.
was sharing his dogs with his ex because when they broke up,
Oh.
they couldn't figure out who the fuck was going to get the dogs. So they had like joint custody of them.
I heard something more strange. A cat split. They split custody of a cat. I don't fucking get that one, dude.
Just let the cat go. Cats suck anyway.
This is like white people problems. We
This
can't
is
figure
the-
out.
yeah.
We can't figure out
Totally.
who gets the dog.
You're like, are you fucking kidding me?
Any
right
other
now?
country would be like, take the fucking dog. I
Just
need to
take
feed
the
myself.
fucking dog, dude. Yeah, like I'll eat the fucking dog. Just give me that fucking thing, dude. No, I mean with kids you can't quite do that. Right.
That's
yeah. No, but I mean you have talk about having to work your shit out
Yeah.
post relationship.
Well, yeah, because you have to
know?
function and
Oh,
like
yeah.
have some degree of normality.
Yeah, man.
Since you chose to complicate the shit out of your life.
Oh yeah, dude. No, and then there's those exes that just fuck you up emotionally. Dude.
Oh yeah, for sure. The one that still sends me the emails like asking for me back and shit. Like
He's actively asking to be back with you.
he like a few months will go by and then I'll get one like with like all this like love stuff and telling me he's still in love with me and blah blah blah. And like this guy was like a sociopath. Like just a
Okay.
straight up horrible sociopath. And so like when
Yeah.
I get those emails, I'm like I just know like I'm like he's super delusional. That's not about me. He's
Yeah.
just like
you don't
know what I-
respond.
No,
Okay.
absolutely not. No, and the funny thing is that I've actually made it so that he can't directly email me. So these emails go straight to my trash,
Okay.
and so I'll see
Okay.
them in my trash. Sometimes.
You go through your trash.
I do.
Okay. I don't go through my trash.
I don't know. I guess I do.
I mean, maybe that's what I call going on Facebook. Right? Hey, where's the drum roll for me, Kate? Jeez.
That was like a 4.
All right. Hey, Ty. You have a question? Yeah.
I have a question for you. I want to know more about the ex that you're stuck with. Like, not specifically her necessarily, but like what sort of process do you go through to like both remove yourself emotionally from someone, but then try to make sure that you maintain a constructive, healthy relationship for the sake of your kid? Like, how does that work? How do you balance that?
Civil court.
Well, that's an answer. Yeah.
There's just like documents that say you will go to jail if you don't do this.
Okay.
No. At least at first that's what it was. No, just not like even go to jail, but it was like these are the custody agreements, and then you just gotta give it some time, man. I think it was like maybe 2 to 3 years before we were actually like could joke. And now we're like I feel like we're not like friends, like oh we're gonna hang out and get coffee,
Right.
you know, but like we joke around and we're fine, you know. But it like honestly more than anything, it just took a lot of fucking time.
It does.
And then here's the thing though, like they you have to deal with their relationships now,
Yeah.
right? By proxy, and then you end up dealing with their exes too.
Oh.
So I'm just like, oh, you see like, oh hey, I saw your ex today. He was changing the oil in my car. That happened.
This sounds like a terrible nightmare.
Right. No, it was also the guy that she cheated on me with. So it was like, but I'm like, but he's changing my oil, so I'm like,
So
I don't
you
know.
win.
So
Like, kinda weird.
you won the
It's all. Here's what it is,
relationship.
Ty. It's all it is like I just want to feel like I fucking won, because I'm petty.
well, it makes sense. You wanna No, I know that feeling, you know. Someone
Yeah.
who has a few exes,
Yeah.
You kind of want to be better than them.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Morally.
Because here's the thing. I think everyone goes back and looks at their ex's profile, but nobody wants to be one that reaches out, the one that reaches out. Because someone's always going to fucking do it.
Why though?
Because I don't know, dude.
Like
we get
what?
lonely as fuck.
Can you give a
Pride.
timeline of like the time you broke up with somebody when you were over them? How long do you think it takes?
Half the total time you were together.
I don't know. I mean,
I actually call bullshit on that.
I don't think you're ever quite
Yes.
over somebody fully, unless they do something that just completely just fucking angers you. I think the quickest path to like getting over somebody is anger.
So
No, it's getting
you
under
feel
somebody.
You're not over your
That's true,
exes.
too.
Huh?
Yeah.
You're not over your exes? Not
Fully.
fully. I don't think you're ever fully. I don't think you're ever fully like completely over your exes.
I
think you're
disagree.
over them romantically. I don't think you're over them like amicably.
What do you mean? I'm
Like
not
I
sure
think
what
you
you're
can
saying.
always be like, hey, like you were with them for a reason, right?
They were part of your life.
They're part of your life, or like you could have gone through some serious shit with them, experienced like a death of somebody, and they got you through it, and you don't quite, undo that.
So I think a weird thing
Yeah.
in this vein, and I'm Chris, I'm the guy producing. So I just want to, people will be like, who's that?
Is that the guy
Yeah.
behind the computer?
Guy behind the
I was
computer.
wondering who that guy was.
That's
So,
normally me, Chris. Come on.
I think the weirdest
Talking
thing
about Sword
too
Thunder.
is when you run into an ex of your ex, the guy like the next person.
Oh,
So
there's
this-
different names for that.
so
I mean,
this
what's-
Eskimo brother, whatever.
Eskimo brother is
So this happened
for
to me.
Eskimo sisters. I
Yeah.
think I've heard this. Is
So-
it different for women?
I don't know.
Has anybody heard anything?
I've never heard this.
I don't
No?
even know what we're talking about.
So okay, so you run
Elaborate.
you run into, say you dated this person for a long period of time, then you break up, and then they go on and date someone else, and then you run into that person after they've broken up.
someone else?
Yes.
Okay.
And then you're like comparing notes. This happened to me, and the guy
'Cause
was
you're
like,
studying for the big
and
test.
the guy was like, and this is how you really know you fucking won. Is when the guy goes, yeah, when we had sex, she always brought up this thing that you did. I'm like, yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's like the
Dude.
ultimate
Solid
win.
victory.
Ultimate.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Or like the ex who gets married immediately after you. You ever done that? You're just like you're like, huh? What was that?
She gets married like right away.
She gets married right away, and you're just like, I dodged a fucking bullet, dude. That was a close one.
How about not necessarily
has a
right
kid right
away,
away.
but like the next person that they date, they end up marrying at some
Oh,
point?
I think that's what I mean by right away.
So I ran
Okay.
into that ex last week. They got
Oh.
married 4 months after we broke up, and she is
Yikes.
now divorced. And I've seen her twice since.
Yeah.
Not
I did.
surprised.
This is slowly turning into a shit talking session.
Yeah.
I kind of
Great.
anticipated
Oh,
that.
this
This
is
is the
good.
X-Files after all.
Yeah, so we're gonna log these away for later, guys, or for never. Let's burn this fucking house down. Anybody else have some stories? Feel free to share out there. If you have an ex that you want to, one time I had this ex kind of deal. Please.
Do you block them though, on social media?
No,
I
because
don't
that
block-
means they win.
I don't block anybody. I don't unfriend anybody. I unfollow people.
Me too.
I have been unfollowed. I have been blocked. I've gotten a restraining order. That was a fucking mess. And I swear that was a
Is
fucking
that like the trifecta or
No one
something?
wins.
I
Nobody
got a restraining
wins.
order, and I mean, I to this day, I'm like, this bitch was fucking lying. But whatever, his side, her side, the real thing, what really happened. But I will say that I personally will not. I will not stoop that low. I'm just trying to figure out a way to
To
make
block
myself
them.
look better. Yeah.
And I want to know like the logistics behind like a restraining order, because actually if I wanted to, I can get one on you and be like, this guy is.
Well, that's the thing. There's all you really have to say is that this person's bothering me, and they will give you a restraining order.
Well, so it's willy nilly as far as restraining
Right, you
orders
can
goes.
get them. You can get them willy.
There are frivolous restraining orders, I'm sure, many a day.
Right, and all you really can tell is like the weight they carry is like the length of them. Like if it's anything less than a year, it's just for the court to cover their own ass in case something actually is happening. Right, that's kind of what it is, because they don't want to get caught and be like, oh, the court did this and then murder.
Right.
That would look bad. That would look real fucking bad. So I think they try to kind of grant them regardless, is what the deal is. Why are you thinking about getting one? I can walk you through the process later. That's
That's an off-camera topic.
an off-camera
I've
topic.
never
No
thought about
names,
I've
please.
never thought about getting one. I always felt that like what's the limit? It's like, okay, so this person maybe like calling me too much. Maybe like
Oh, I saw a story. I saw a story. Yeah.
at my porch.
What was the
at
story?
all hours of the nights.
Yeah, if they show up at your house, yeah.
Was
it's
it
a restraining
M?
order.
You know the story. Was one of the audience people here? She was talking about there was a woman who called. She's also my girlfriend. She's my girlfriend's here, guys.
Ow!
She's sitting in the uncomfortable chair.
She puts up with me on a daily basis. Is pretty much what it is.
You're amazing.
You're a fucking saint. You're the best. Where was I? I lost my train of thought. Oh no, you were talking. I think you mentioned one time there was this. Come up to the mic, please. There was a woman who called her ex-boyfriend or boyfriend. I don't know how many times, and like got a restraining order because of it. Or do you remember how many times was it?
I have no idea what you're talking
You
about.
have no idea what I'm
No.
talking about.
Do you think if
swear.
I broke up with you right now, it would make a good episode though?
Yes.
Ex right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say
Right
yes.
now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say yes too.
Oh, it's a yeah.
Oh, the ratings we could get.
The ratings would be
See,
good.
That's what I thought.
Right.
And then he'll be like free on the market.
And then at the end, you can make up again, so then it'd be double ratings.
Double ratings.
Speaking of making up, I
There
have
you
a
go.
question about breakup sex and how long you should have quote unquote closure.
I know
Like
why
how
you're
long
asking
you
this.
should
No,
keep
no, no.
sleeping
There's
with
a
them
story
for?
behind this. There's a
I
story
had
behind this.
quote-unquote-
Tell us the
okay,
story.
all right. I had quote unquote closure with an ex of mine for a year, and every time we would meet for coffee, it would end up
With
at-
some
with
more closure.
Some more
Yeah.
closure. Yeah. So like, does that exist? Does closure exist or no?
Closure exists when you stop talking to them completely.
Yeah,
That's
I
fucking
agree.
That's
closure.
closure. That's
They
closure.
no longer exist in your world. It's closed.
How long though? Because if you want to be friends with your ex, you know what I mean? Like,
Because you're
hey,
still friends with this guy.
Yeah. Well, I know, but it took
Yeah.
like what 3 years. But then it would be like we'd meet for coffee after a year and be like, this isn't right. And then like 2 more years would go by and we'd be like, well, maybe. You know, it takes time.
Well, because you got to look at your motivations too. Why do you want to be friends with this person? Are they
Yeah.
really that awesome?
Stop touching his dick.
That's fair.
Done.
Just like that's all. That's when the closure happens.
He will
It's
stop
not
calling
that
you if
easy,
you won't
Chris.
fuck
it's
him.
not that easy. Maybe just like you just a fan of the dick, man. Maybe it was really pretty dick.
Yeah, maybe it's
there's
like
not
a
another
pedestal
dick.
penis.
There's no
There's-
one dick to rule them all.
There's no one dick to rule them all, but not every dick is the same.
No, I know.
You know. I'm not speaking from experience.
Who was I watching? I was watching some stand-up comedian. It was
Yeah.
talking about how women don't get to find out about the dick until it's way too late.
Because
like,
until it's in your face or
yeah,
well,
like we should get a preview instead of like the guy whips his pants down and, you're just like,
so-
please.
So if you need a preview, please tell me why you hate dick pics so much.
I don't hate dick pics.
Most
like,
of
at
the
all.
time, they're unsolicited.
if
You're-
they're unsolicited,
Yeah.
It's like it's a preview. Do you want it or not?
I want to be able to ask for it.
Okay.
Maybe she wants a frame of reference, like something next to it.
A frame of
Yeah, like a
reference.
coin.
That's what the angle's for. Chris.
Perhaps a dollar
That's
bill
what the
if you're
angle's
generous.
for. You get creative. You become a cinematographer. You're like, I got to get the right angle. Should I get me in the background making like a sexy face?
Oh, they're fluffing it up too.
You know?
And I want
It's like
little
it's not
hats
really
on
a
it and
true.
googly
Oh
eyes
yeah,
and
there
shit.
you
It's
go.
an
If you're
angle,
gonna send
right.
me your
Googly
dick, I want
eyes.
googly
Should it be
eyes
like
on
from
there.
the, just like should it? It's like coming at you like 3D.
Oh yeah, dick pics
know?
would be infinitely improved by googly eyes.
Yeah.
Googly eyes.
Yeah.
I have some googly eyes at home.
You
Maybe
heard
I'll-
it
I'm
here
gonna go
first.
get
Em, if
some.
you get a dick pic later with googly eyes, you know where that idea came from. And I've never sent you one, by the way. And it's gonna happen.
I have never been sent a dick pic ever.
You've never been
I
sent
have
a
never
dick pic?
gotten a dick pic.
I've
So
been
you're not
sent
on any of the
ironic
dating
dick
sites
pics.
whatsoever.
I was
Wow.
briefly.
Yeah, dude.
And nobody sent me any dick pics. Yeah, I was on Tinder for a couple of weeks and I got no
Wow.
dick pics. Zero dick
I met a
pics.
lot of girls from Russia.
From
It's
Russia.
called Tinder.
Tinder. I wish there was more tit pics. Or
Like
nip-
straight up tit pics?
Yeah, just send me a tit pic, yo.
I feel like that's not equivalent.
No.
What do you want, like a
Like, do
vagina
we need
pic?
like a hoo-ha
Yeah.
pic?
At least some side boob.
Side
I
boob.
love hoo-ha.
A good
That's
side
my
boob.
favorite word for a vagina.
really good.
Hoo-ha?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What's it for the nookie?
What?
Cookie?
Is this 2003?
What's another name for vagina?
JJ?
Vagina.
Vag.
The vagina.
Vagina. That's a Louis C.K.
Vajayjay.
reference.
Jay.
I just watched that
Yeah,
one the
no,
other
it's like
day.
you call it a
was
vagina.
called a
Do you
vagina.
vagine? We're gonna vagine this table with it. That's a Boston reference, right? Vagina. But there's been different vaginas.
Different vaginas.
Different vaginas, different penises, you know.
Not all of them are created equal.
Not, and
It's
then
true.
I guess some of you keep you around for longer, apparently, for closure.
Yeah, like I was talking to my boyfriend about vaginas and how I have this weird idea in my head that they're just all the same. Like all women just have the same vagina. There's one model.
Well, we talked about this last time. There's different sizes. There's different smells.
Yeah.
There's
Different shapes.
Different size
different
labia.
shapes. Different shapes. Yeah. There's just as many people as there is. There's different ones.
There's a lot going on.
You know.
There's definitely a lot
I've
going
seen
on.
some
Some have had more
cupcakes.
work than others. They've seen a little.
I mean, what do you mean by work, Chris? Like they've gotten more work done to them, or they've like experienced more life.
Experienced. There
They've
is, yeah.
experienced-
Well,
a
there
little
is
more-
also vagina work too.
No,
you
there
know?
is. I was
Yeah.
watching something about that the
Really?
other day about
Yeah.
how
Yeah, like there's a vagina like rejuvenation.
The refresher, yeah.
Yeah.
what's it called when they snip the lips? I can't remember what that's.
Oh yeah, there's.
But like those
I think
perfect
it's
little pink ones that you see in
It's
the
weird
porn.
that you said that,
that's-
and I felt that in my taint.
Don't worry, we did too.
everything
too?
just kind of sucked in.
That's where my vagina would be if I had one.
It's true,
Where my
it's
taint
true,
is,
yep.
right?
Yep.
So I
That
felt
was your ghost vagina
my
speaking.
ghost vagina. my ghost vagina.
Oh, I like that one. That's a good one.
Hashtag ghost China. Trademarked. I've been haunted lately. Yeah. How do we get on this from fucking exes? I
have
don't know,
no
but it's a
idea.
good fucking
we were
time.
talking about dick pics.
Dude, no, I mean, there's been some weird vaginas in my life, but by vaginas I mean exes.
Yeah, no, I've had some crazy dicks.
Some crazy
As
dicks.
well. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Do you have like a top of them all story? Like, what's the craziest fucking thing anybody ever did?
I mean, I would have to say the one that just fucking destroyed me was the restraining order.
Really?
It was pretty bad. That one I was actively like I was so anxious.
Yeah.
I had to go on antidepressants. It was insane, dude. It
Oh,
was like so
God.
bad. After that was like the girl I was engaged to, who was just a nightmare,
Yeah.
cokehead. And then I think I've mentioned them all. It was the Hannah like the narcissist,
Uh-huh.
the one that contacted me last night out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's kind of
You know.
bizarre.
Oh no. Well, there was another one. There was one that would just throw shit.
Just throw shit.
She was just like throwing stuff, and then get
Well,
it.
throwing stuff's fun.
She would get mad at me for not cleaning it up.
Yeah,
I was like, "You're the one that threw the fucking mug,
that's a little wacko.
dude." I did have an ex that punted a glass of milk across the room once.
That's kind of amazing.
Not punted. She dropped. Well, it was like on the floor, barefoot, and she just runs up to him and just fucking kicks it because she's angry. She tried to stab me with a remote too.
What's the angriest anyone's ever made you?
The angriest?
Like to breaking shit or
No,
throwing shit?
I walked in on a girlfriend fucking a guy at a party.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So I paid for it. It was the best $200 I ever spent. I got those mini manhole covers, and I threw it through her windshield and then her side passenger window.
Nice.
And then I went home and threw all her stuff out on the curb.
Very nice.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
Appropriate.
That was. I feel like it was an appropriate reaction.
No, that's
only because I paid for the windshield.
you shouldn't have paid for it. Fuck that.
I don't know, dude. But I was like, I straight up, I walk in and I'm like, dude, that was rough, dude.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, I was wasted. I was wasted too. That was rough, man. But you know what? That was a crazy one.
So
Yeah.
I had one ex that I knew cheated on me. I just knew it. Like he
But
would.
you didn't catch him.
I'm not done.
Oh, sorry. I jumped
Wait
the gun.
for it.
So he would deny it and deny it and deny it and deny it and deny it, and I just knew. I just fucking knew. You know how you just know?
Yeah,
Like, and
yeah.
so I got into his email, which I should have just broken up with him. But I did the
Yeah.
whole thing where I decided to hack into his email, and I found all these emails to hookers. Like every
Nice.
time I was going out of town, he was like banging escorts.
Right on, dude. Yeah.
And so I went over to his house and I asked him about it, and he told me that his best friend had gotten into his email, and it wasn't him.
That's such a lame story, dude.
It was really bad.
So it was my best friend.
Yeah. His best friend's name was Craig. He was all, "Oh, Craig must have done it." I was like, "What the fuck?" And this guy was like in his 40s.
Yeah. Well, whatever, dude. Well, cheaters are cheaters, dude.
That's true. Do you think once a cheater, always a cheater?
Well, I think people change.
I do too.
I think people change, but I do think that I don't think people. I people who do cheat in the moment, like they should just get the fuck out of a relationship.
No, I agree. If you can't
You
be
should just
faithful to
not-
someone, you shouldn't be with
No,
anyone.
no, no. So I've had a lot of cheaters in my life.
I
Which
haven't had
is,
many.
you know-
I've only had one,
Yeah.
but he cheated on me a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was. I feel like it like made up for all that time.
I don't think you're making up for it is the best way to put it.
I think that's
you're just
also
an asshole.
something that I needed to experience though, because I had cheated on partners in the past, and I don't really think I ever realized how much damage I was causing until it was done to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it was
yeah.
one of those things that needed to happen to me.
Yeah, that stuff hurts, man.
Yeah,
That
it
stuff
does.
really damages you.
Yeah,
because-
betrayal's pretty rough.
Well, because then
especially-
you don't trust people anymore.
But then that's your baggage to deal with, and you get to decide, okay, am I going to carry this bullshit into all of my next relationships, or am I going to work on this, and am I going to be a trusting person anyway? That's what I try to do.
Right.
Like nothing that I do is going to have anything to do with how you decide to behave. Like that's all on you.
But I think you're allotted an amount of time to feel fucking petty and just kind of be like, they cheated on me for a little bit.
For a little
You
bit.
have your
Yeah.
process.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Mine involved breaking everything in his house.
Oh, nice, dude. So we are the crazy exes.
Fuck yeah.
So this just turned into like a profiling of ourselves.
Yeah, but we'll see. And that's like what the guy asked us earlier about if you have somebody that you were really, really fucked up with. Like, what does that say about you?
Yeah.
Like, it says that I was super fucked up too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I've also, been really fucked up to people who are really sweet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I have too. Like,
know,
honestly, like, I
yeah.
think about it frequently. Like, my ex husband was a solid dude. Like, not the right
No.
dude for me, but he was a solid dude, and I was awful to him.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just like I was so fucking warped. I didn't know how to love somebody else.
Well, man, that's why kids should not get into relationships, man. You should wait until you're fucking 25.
I
So
think,
your
see, and I
brain's
was
formally
25
developed.
when I got married. Like,
Okay.
I should have still
Okay.
been single and in therapy.
Yeah, just fuck around and then just wait.
But I think that's part of it too. Like we're taught that we're supposed to be in a relationship, and if we're single, then something's wrong with us. I feel like there's a lot,
No.
especially like I don't know. I get that kind of shit from my dad a lot because he's old school, and so he thinks like I
you
need
need a guy.
a
You need a
husband,
guy, yeah.
like I need a man to take
Yeah.
care of me.
Yeah.
And so I think when you get that kind of shit fed to you a lot, especially from your parents, like you kind of feel like a disappointment if you're not
Yeah.
doing
yeah,
what they think you should be doing. It's hard to like
Right.
get yourself out from under that approval seeking.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But like at the end of the day, regardless of what they say or whatever, I think that like dating around and having a list of exes makes you a better person.
It does. It definitely does.
Every person I've dated has made me hopefully a better boyfriend. I don't know. What do you think I'm? Hopefully I'm okay.
Well, I feel
I have my days.
I also think that everybody that you're with is a stepping stone to who you're trying to end up with. You know, I mean,
Right,
it's,
right.
It's all
You
reference
learn,
points.
you learn all
and-
these bad things
Yeah,
about
and-
them, what you don't like, and who you are.
Yeah, and you-
maybe what you need to, how you need to work on yourself.
Well, yeah, and you like
Yeah.
learn what your like non-negotiables are and shit like that. Like you figure out like what's okay, what's not, and you develop good boundaries and figure out like what you're willing to put up with and what you're not willing to put up with and stuff like that.
Yeah. And it's all a learning curve. It's a learning experience. And if you decide to kind of sit on it and be like, this is bullshit, they're all fucked up, then you're just losing out and you're refusing to change.
Well, and you're
And
missing out on a chance.
I think you're
to,
you're more likely to end up alone.
I think so. I
Right?
definitely think so.
Yeah. If you're willing to grow from them, you're gonna do really well.
Do you think that like you're like my worst relationship, like I wouldn't take it back at all just because of how much I learned from it?
I mean, I think for a time there, I would be like, oh man, I wish that didn't happen because it hurt so bad. But
Yeah.
at this point, I'm just like, you know what? Like, I'm glad it happened.
Yeah, no.
I'm glad it happened. It taught me a lot about myself. If anything, it taught me that I can pick myself up and fucking move on.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's a good thing to learn.
Right, because that's a hard thing to do, and just in general in life.
Yeah.
Right?
It's important to understand that you are resilient.
Yeah. And no matter how bad you think that somebody fucked you up, or how bad you messed somebody up, you can always just kind of pick up and move on and do okay and be okay.
How do you deal with like forgiving exes, like the ones that have hurt you?
I mean, sometimes you get an opportunity to forgive them, like face to face. Sometimes you can only forgive them in your own mind,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes you're not going to get the actual opportunity to do it face to face.
No,
But
that's true.
but
But do you think the actual forgiveness that happens inside of you is really, really important?
absolutely to be able to move on, man?
Mm-hmm.
If you're clinging on to all these past things, how much are you actually in the current relationship that you're in?
Right, that's true.
Right? You're
That's
not
true.
because you're muddying the waters with past stuff.
Right.
Right. So that's not healthy for anybody.
Yeah, no,
You know?
that's true. I think everybody's process is different. Like, what does it look like for you? Like, besides Arby's?
Oh yeah, that's my running theme. Like with the breakup, like, go get some fucking Arby's, get 5 Arby's melts, eat them all with a Dr Pepper and some curly fries.
Gotta have those curly fries.
The curly fries, dude, they're so fucking good.
This is why Nihilist Arby's exists.
Yeah.
Have you seen this?
No.
It's Nihilist Arby's.
They have a Twitter account where they just like make all these really nihilistic tweets about
About Arby's.
whatever, and it's just like I don't
Sick
know,
burns.
like
They do some sick
yeah,
burns.
it's like basically a sick burn Twitter.
Can I
where
have
it's
an
just
audience
like,
question?
Yeah.
Have you ever felt that you were the toxic person in retrospect?
Yes, I
Yeah,
was in my
absolutely.
marriage. I was the toxic one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like talking about like, oh, the exes, like what they did to me is like, well, maybe I was the shitty person.
Right. Right.
And
yeah.
I've dealt with that in my personal experience, that I was, holy shit, like I was the crazy one.
Right. And then, toxic could be in very different ways. You don't have to be batshit crazy to be the toxic one. You could be the one that's just kind of like on the side asking for this stuff and antagonizing the other person and maybe act a certain way even.
In my experience,
know,
it was always
antagonizing
it was
behavior.
always like a disproportionate like interest in somebody. So like they were really into me, so I was okay by default.
Yeah.
Being okay, so I'll string you along for like years or months, kind of thing. And I
What is that? Do you think it always goes one way or the other and there's no balance?
That somebody's always more into.
Yeah, the other one, there's always one.
It can't. No, I think it can be mutual.
It is me. I mean,
I
I
think
feel
it's
like I've
rare, I think, though.
I think it's rare, but when it happens, I think you know. And
I think it's
pretty
good at that
badass.
point. I
you
think
can
that's a good
also-
relationship.
I think you can also be mutually bad for each other.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right.
Yeah, by the end of that super fucked up relationship, me and that guy were like war buddies. Like we would talk about all the shit that we had gone through and like laugh about how fucked up everything was between us. Like
No.
it became a joke.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I think this is a mixed bag. I think you can be harmful to each other in different ways, and I think you can oscillate between like being really toxic to being the one that's really good in the relationship, even if you're in the relationship for a long time, and you like maybe it's a one day you're just a really shitty fucking person, and then you just like create havoc, and then you're like, oh, then you're okay, and then the other person, it's their turn to be a shitty person,
Well, and I think it
it's-
does come and go too. Like I
Yeah.
feel like the horrible relationship that I went through right after my marriage was totally my karma for the way that I behaved when I
Yeah.
was married. Like I got to see what it felt like to be the person who really cared and was really trying and really wanted it to work and was trying to be good and just get shit on. Like I
Yeah.
needed to feel that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, absolutely.
And
No.
I think when you figure out that you were the toxic person in the relationship, I mean, what happens from there is totally dependent on you. Like, okay, so you realize you have these fucked up tendencies. What are you going to do about them?
Have you ever wanted to get back with an ex personally?
Yeah, I've gotten back with an ex.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. But it was all within this one window of time with that horrible person that I was with. We would break up. I hate you, rah, 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 and I'd break
so
his
it's more of
shit,
like
and,
it's off and on kind
and
of
then
deal.
we'd get back together.
Yeah,
And-
but
and
but after a period of time,
no,
you ever
not-
look back and be like, no?
No,
Good, yeah.
no. I'm really, really glad that every relationship that I was in ended
Is
the way
over.
that it did, and
Yeah,
that I'm
seriously,
in the
dude.
relationship I'm in now.
Right.
Like,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
like I'm really glad it didn't work out with anybody else.
Because it would have been a fucking nightmare, dude.
Well, yeah,
or
or I,
you're just like, or after the fact, you just realize how bad you are for fucking each other.
for what?
You just had different life goals.
Yeah, well, and
Yeah.
that's a big thing too. Like
Yeah.
realizing that you're not compatible with somebody. Like I don't know, the person that I'm with now, I've never been this compatible with anybody
Yeah.
ever, and it's pretty amazing to
Yeah.
like just to feel what like real compatibility feels like.
Yeah.
and like just realize that in all these other relationships, like I was fucking forcing shit that didn't work, and like
Yeah.
it really is supposed to be easy and drama free.
Yeah.
Like having that is the most amazing thing. Like
Right.
because I think the person that I was with got out of a really fucked up relationship as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we both kind of met on the other side of like having horrible, and both of us have like had conversations about the fact that it's like of paramount importance that we don't have drama or bullshit between the two of us. Like
Well,
that it just stays good. And we've talked about the fact like, yeah, we're going to fight, but you know,
And fights happen. You grow from those.
right. It's not always going to be, it's not always, but it doesn't have to be a disaster.
It can be a healthy thing.
Right.
Right.
We can fight to solve the issue, not to win.
Not to win.
Yeah. Or not to hurt the other person. person.
Right,
Like, have you been in those fights where you're just saying everything you can think of just to rip
Well,
the
that's-
other
I think
person to
for a long
shreds?
time, that's who it was, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
you wanted to hurt
Well,
them?
I would have to sit there and just be like, no, we're gonna do this instead of like learning how to walk away.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's a hard one. I think,
Yeah.
especially when you have that kind of abandonment stuff too, because
Yeah.
like if you've got that kind of shit and somebody walks away from you, like your world ends.
Okay.
Like
Yeah. That's why you have to be like, I'm gonna be back.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
Like
Can I-
even if I'm fucking mad at you, I want you to know it's okay.
Yeah.
Like that
yeah.
kind of thing. Like I don't want you to be afraid or hurting.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
and when
you
you-
love them.
Right. And when you're in those toxic relationships, I don't really know how much love there is there. Like I don't really think you ever want to hurt someone you love.
It's all ego.
Which makes me wonder, like, did I love these people? Maybe I didn't. Maybe I
No.
thought I was capable of love when I
Yeah.
wasn't.
No, I
like
don't
maybe
think it was.
maybe I really didn't love them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I think that shit was just about me. Shit.
I
Sorry.
have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you feel like is in the era of social media that it's just you can't break up with somebody face to face? You do it through text or like messenger.
Ooh.
Do you think that we're better off now being more honest, or back in the day, kind of just
Are you saying like it's easier to be more honest now
It's easier to be honest now, just
because you have that
Behind the veil of
behind the-
internet.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's a
I don't think
coward's
so
way out.
because
It really
how
is. I
honest are
agree
you
with that.
being by like ghosting somebody or by
Yeah.
like
Oh,
being
that's
like
the worst.
or just like bye, peace out.
I would say like 20 years ago when there was not messaging or texts,
But I feel like
you would have to do it either one like kind of just
By speaking
find
style?
somebody
somebody else and just kind of
Well, I think back then you used to like date within your circle because that's all you really were interacting with, right? So you would have to do it face to face because you'd be running into these fuckers,
all right.
you know, because like that's your circle.
Have you broken it with anybody via text?
I
Or-
have.
Yes.
It wasn't a serious relationship. We were only together
No.
a couple months and it was casual, but yes, I broke up with
Yeah.
this person via text and I didn't feel great about it.
It was the very beginning of their like your thing, and it was like I realized really quickly. I'm like, this
How
is
many
not gonna work out.
emojis did you use?
It was before it was
All the clowns.
before it was before emojis.
A couple of poop emojis.
It was before emojis. It was a colon parentheses.
Yep.
It was
The sad face.
It was
one,
emoticon.
I'm
Right.
guessing.
Emoticons.
Backslash colon.
Yep.
Right, like
Perhaps an apostrophe in there for
Right.
a little tear.
a little tear. It was before that, so just breaking up with people via text.
I mean, sometimes you got to break
I
up
feel
with
like-
people.
I feel like there's different levels of breaking up now because you can't just ghost somebody.
Well, and
Right.
it depends on how long you've been with the
I mean, you
person, what they mean to
can.
you, what you mean to them. Have you said I
But
love you?
should you?
I think
Right.
if any kind of I love yous have been uttered, like you got to accept when that breakup happens, like there's going to be about 24 hours of your life that are going to fucking suck and you're never going to get them back.
Right.
Like,
Right.
And there's nothing worse than the premature "I love you."
ooh, yeah, that's a rough one.
Yeah.
Like, I think we discussed that one fairly
time?
recently too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah, in the love
when
episode.
is premature? Like when is it?
Right. No.
when's
Well,
it
I mean,
okay?
it's like I think, but I don't think there's a right time. There's like timeline. If you go do Yahoo Answers, there's like 3 months or this amount of time. But like, it just I think it's different for everyone.
It is
right?
different for everybody, and I mean, hopefully, you guys are on the same page. Like that's ideal.
That's if you guys are both on the same page and you both feel like you love each other, then you say I love you.
Yeah, like I
That's,
told my
think, that's
boyfriend
what
that
it
I
is.
loved him recently, and he said it right back, and I was fucking torturing myself about telling him because
Yeah.
we had only been together like 2.5 months, something
Yeah.
like that, and like,
Yeah.
and I knew how I felt, but I was like, fuck, what if he's not ready? What if I ruin this? But I just like couldn't not say it anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, breaking up. Yeah, breaking up. It's better to feel it out and wait to say I love you.
I waited as long as I fucking could.
until you know that you're like this okay, I want to stick around with this person.
Yeah,
'Cause,
yeah.
like, breaking up with them post that, you're fucked.
Well, yeah, it's gonna
You's
be
fucked.
bad. You done fucked up.
You done fucked up, yo.
But yeah, I also think like the saying the "I love you" thing prematurely too. People say "I love you" for a whole lot of different reasons.
Well, you can
Not
love
all
your
of
you
them
can
are
love your
necessarily.
friends. You can love different people. You know, I love my kids, right?
But-
But I wish I could break up with them sometimes. But this is not. It's not in the cards for
This
me.
ain't working out,
That's
guys.
not on the cards for me, man. You know, I'm kind of. This is a life thing. Another question.
Here's another question. Did you ever feel like on a first date you felt this person was going to be your boyfriend, girlfriend?
Yeah.
I think you know.
I think you know too.
I think you just get a feeling. You know?
It's all about the eye contact.
You know, like M. Like I remember I met her and I was like, "Fuck." Right?
Was it like a first date or just kind of just at work kind of thing? Or
No. I mean, it was just kind of. I'm pretty sure we met at Frontier. Or was it Sajia's? At this point, the debate's up. Sajia's. But that was so we were talking in line waiting for food, and then I just kind of was like, I'm screwed.
We both met killing a homeless man outside of Frontier.
And
We bonded instantly.
and the second
It
part
was
of
We
that
made
one
eye
question,
a.m.
contact, and that's when I knew.
and the second part of that question, we have a rise in people blind dates being connected on dating apps.
Yeah.
And do you feel that you can work with that? Do you feel that it's kind of like a superficial? I don't know, like a
met my girlfriend
how
on
do
Tinder.
dating apps work for you?
That was our whole first episode.
Yeah, the boyfriend that I have now, I met on Tinder.
I met
I
my
thought we
girlfriend.
were just gonna fuck and that was gonna be that, but we ended up clicking.
Met my girlfriend on Tinder.
Yeah, and you guys are in a relationship
Yep.
now.
Yep.
It's
And
funny.
the funny thing is, like, Tinder is basically like at its core was the hookup app.
That's
Yeah.
what it was supposed to.
Yeah.
The CEO said that it's like for sex. but
Yeah.
it's turned into a dating app.
And so,
yeah,
like, you have
He's
like,
shocked.
yeah, he was shocked.
But you have like a basic like Match and like POF and OkCupid, and now Tinder is kind of like the mainstay now.
Don't forget Bumble.
Bumble.
What
Bumble.
I don't know what Bumble
The
is.
women
Bumble's
first
the one where the
app.
women get to pick.
Hmm.
Yeah.
They have to drive conversation.
Right. Or else you disappear
Yeah.
to them.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're like,
Okay.
huh. So, I mean, hopefully this lasts, but if in case you'll break up, use Bumble. Yeah. So, but I think it can be superficial, but I think it makes a lot of connections possible that weren't capable.
Yeah, maybe that people you wouldn't have met otherwise,
And
just
there's a lot
because
of-
you have different lives.
There's a lot of people that are not as social, right? That maybe need these kind of devices to kind of, or these platforms to kind of connect.
Yeah, I had never used it before, and I didn't really realize that, like, the way that I'm living my life, I'm not gonna fucking meet anyone that
Yeah.
I want to meet.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
like going between, like, you know, playing shows at the bar. I certainly don't want to meet anyone at the
You
bar.
know, I get it, but I don't know anyone who's been married off of Tinder yet.
Well, being married
I'm
doesn't
sure
say shit.
Have you have you ever been matched with an ex on one of these sites?
I saw my ex on
you
there.
have been
Yeah,
matched.
yes.
Which one? Which one?
Oh, geez. I mean, there's been girls that, well, there's ones that I've dated and I went no, and I blocked them on another one, and then they've popped up on the other one. I'm like, oh,
You're like, was it like a high match kind of deal?
yeah.
Actually, what I want to see in the next few years is like, I met my husband on Tinder. It's like, what? Has that ever happened in the history
Yeah,
of
it
Tinder?
has.
I'm sure it has. If you Googled it.
Yeah.
Like,
But how
I-
many people actually say like, "Oh, we met on Tinder"? I don't think people like that.
Are you and
I don't
your
think I
girlfriend
would
honest
tell my
about it?
kids
If
that.
people
though.
ask,
No.
do you just
Yeah.
say we met on Tinder?
Oh, yeah.
Because that's how I've been rolling so far. I
No
don't feel
problems,
any.
yeah.
I
You're
think
like,
it's
well,
kind of funny.
I wanted to get laid, so I downloaded this app, and then next thing you know, I met your mom.
Yeah.
And then
It adds this nice degree of honesty and humility to your relationship. You're like, yeah, we met trying to fuck, and it worked out.
Yeah, I guess this. And you did fuck.
If you guys could create any kind of dating app,
Ooh.
what kind of dating app would you guys create?
Oh fuck, dude. I don't know.
I don't know.
Do you have
Oh,
one,
you know
Kate?
which one I've heard of that I respect the most is, have you ever heard of Hater?
Yes.
And it matches you with people based on what you hate.
Yes.
I think that's brilliant.
I did
Yeah.
too, and I told my friends about it, and they were like, "I'm done with dating apps." I was like, "Have you heard of this one where you both hate the same things?" And they're like, "Fuck, I got to do that."
That's super brilliant. I would do something along those lines.
Maybe like maybe just bad jokes.
because isn't that
Something with bad jokes.
Or maybe like an algorithm for all of the bands that you listen
Yeah.
to, and like
Music.
find like a similar, because I think music taste is really important.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This guy gets it. We're on the same wavelength.
Yeah, they said that people who like have the same taste in Netflix stay together, so
Yep.
maybe something like that too, I guess.
Yeah, I could say like based on all of the media that you're intaking and like who's
You can because you can sit there and watch TV together. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
well, yeah, and
Somebody
like,
that you on a cloudy day like this, you got to be able to watch.
so that's what I'm doing right
Some
after
zombies.
My
this.
girlfriend.
yeah.
My girlfriend, like our code word is I'm gonna go put Star Trek on. That means you're going to bed because you put Star Trek: The Next Generation on, and it's in the background while you fall asleep.
Yeah.
And when she told me, she goes, I hope you don't mind if I fall asleep to Star Trek. I was like, oh my god, we're getting married.
I love you.
You're like, I love
This
Star
is
Trek.
really gonna happen for me.
This is it.
I did not think
fucking
this
it.
was a real person.
There
Yeah.
are those little cues that are really important. Like me and my boyfriend talked about music right away. Like one of our first conversations, and I told him I liked Tom Waits, and he wrote back that he loved Tom Waits, and I was like, "This is gonna work fine."
Yes.
Yeah. So hopefully they don't end up exes. You know, and if they do,
And if they do, don't bother
and
trying
if
to
they
be
do,
friends.
don't forget you're also their ex.
We can't watch Star Trek.
This,
or
sounds
listen to
sounds
Tom
all
Waits.
really good, but do you feel that there is kind of a idea of just getting with somebody just because you're lonely
Oh, yeah.
and not even liking the person?
Oh yeah,
People do that.
I've been with
dude.
people I couldn't
Yeah.
fucking stand because it was preferable to being alone.
Yeah, but like,
What happened? That's what happened last night with for me. It's like, oh, it's like, fine.
I guess
fine.
you can come over and go down on me.
all right.
I just want to say I was a part of this
guess.
process because I was with him and I tried to help him, and he still was like, I was like, Billy, let's get an Uber and go home. And he's like, no, she's gonna drive us. And I was like, are
Billy.
you sure?
Billy.
And then she's like, will you make sure you call me next time? And I'm like, oh,
Rough.
Dude, it happens, man.
so it happens.
That going back to being the toxic person, that's being a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And that happens sometimes.
It
No,
does.
I-
It totally happens, and you
But
just
sometimes
own it.
Sometimes there's two people that are really fucking lonely, man, and they just like work out.
That's one of my favorite ones from High Fidelity. They both just went through a breakup, and they just hang out together and commiserate.
Oh yeah, yeah, and then they're just like, all right, cool, later, you know?
Yeah.
Because they were just miserable together. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and that's good. You got to have common ground. You really do. Whether you're talking about your exes that you detest, or music, or Star Trek, or
There has to be some commonality there.
yeah. I
Right.
think I was reading somewhere that opposites attract initially, but people with more similarities have longer lasting
Yeah.
relationships, just because there's more there. Like I've been with people that I was very, very different from, and I've been with people that I had a lot in common with, and it's just better to be.
Well, I've been with people that I have a lot of common with, but then like as soon as like we listened to all the music and watched all the movies, there was nothing else to talk about.
Well, that's because all of your commonalities were trivial rather than
Right.
like at the roots.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, where somebody like somebody you can like vibe with, hang out with, just chill, go eat with,
Yeah.
or just like who's willing to just maybe chill the same way you do.
Yeah, somebody who approaches life the same way you do. Like when I
Yeah.
first, like the first date I went on with the guy that I'm with, like we talked about both being into meditation, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Fuck yeah!"
Yeah,
like
dude.
a guy that meditates and is like into like
Yeah.
figuring himself
And then
out. That's hot.
And then education. Oh, we got somebody knocking. And then education, I think, is important. Not necessarily because they need to have a certain degree. I'm an elitist, but I think being able to have an intellectual conversation with somebody.
For me, it's just intelligence. I don't give a shit if you're educated, if you're
Well,
smart.
that's what I'm saying. But I think that's a good way to be like. That's a definite like. Oh, you were able to get this degree, right?
Yeah.
But then again, there's a lot of MBAs out there who are not very smart.
I really make a distinction between being educated and being smart. I do not think
well,
they're
yeah,
the same
just because
thing.
you're book smart doesn't make
Yeah,
you smart.
like I don't really
Yeah.
care what degree you have if
Right.
you don't have any common sense.
Right.
Like,
One of my colleagues at work, she's like, she's like getting her doctorate, and her boyfriend dropped out of high school, and she's like, and he's one of the smartest people I know. Mm-hmm. And it just works. Dude.
Yeah.
And I'm like, right on.
yeah, and I've been with people who didn't go to college. I'm with somebody who didn't go to college, and he's
Yeah.
fucking smarter than the last guy I was with who had a master's degree.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's just,
Yeah. It makes a difference, dude.
yeah.
Whew. I don't know. I think we're about up. Yeah. We got a couple minutes. Do we have any more questions from the floor?
Probably got time for one more.
One more question. Come on, guys. Oh, yes, we got one. The lady in
Sweet.
red. Woo!
Oh, thanks for the support.
Hi.
Hi. What do you guys think about using your ex in a novel, a poem, a TV show,
Dude.
a podcast?
If you
other-
sucked his dick, you can do anything you want.
I've never sucked any dick, so I guess I can't.
Change
Okay,
the name.
so
I
the
mean,
rule of thumb, if your mouth has touched the pee-pee,
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what it
Words
is.
to
If it's
live
touched
by.
the pee-pee, yes. If you gotten the pee-pee in your mouth. Well, I think that's what we're doing right now, right? This is a creative thing. We're
Yeah.
talking about that, right?
Yeah.
And we're using our exes for that.
And I
so
don't mind exploiting my crazy exes to
Right.
have funny stories to tell.
I will say leave the name out.
I agree with that too. I
Yeah,
would never
for sure.
mention names.
just change the name. Yeah.
No, just change the name. And I think it's
And give them
totally
like a name that you know that they would
some of the best
hate,
art
like
that's ever
Chet.
been made. Yeah, some of the best
and
art
they know-
ever.
yeah,
goes
They
over
know
next.
who they are, but not everybody knows. So
And that's
they
what
get mad.
matters.
Yeah.
Right.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks.
That was awesome. That was an awesome question. I think about wraps it up, man.
Yeah,
Thank you
thanks
guys.
for
Thank you
having
guys
us
for-
here.
Yeah.
This was great.
Thank you.
It was a good crowd. Thank you guys so much for
Thanks
being
for all
here.
your questions
Yeah.
and hanging out with us.
Thanks for watching.
I still have more, but we
Live
have
or
to have
remote?
time limits.
There's another podcast coming on next. Who is it? City
on
on
the
the Edge is
Edge.
coming on next.
It's about Albuquerque, right?
It's about Albuquerque history, and they're talking about this
I think
very
it's New
place.
Mexico. It's not just Albuquerque.
Oh,
New
okay,
Mexico in
cool.
general. Awesome podcast. Stick around for it, and you can get all social media stuff on Dops at Dops at Dops Podcast DOPS on Instagram. Follow us on there.
Yep. And we'll have another one of these next Wednesday.
That's right.
We'll be on Wednesday. Check us
Every
out on
Wednesday.
Inertia TV. On
We're going to be
Twitch.
talking about porn on Wednesday. You don't want to miss that.
Oh, the good old porn
I've heard of it.
episode.
I've heard of it. I try to keep up.
With porn, there's too much, man.
You don't want to fall behind the times and not know what's
No.
popular.
Do you know
You
there's
gotta know
do you
what's
know there's
going on.
porn bottoms?
Right.
No, yeah. You can hit a fucking bottom with your porn, dude. You're like,
Save
what?
that
We're
for
going to have to
Wednesday.
compare
Oscar.
notes on that.
I'm gonna talk about a time I was really confused with porn. I was like, I shouldn't be turned on, but I was.
That's when it's the biggest
Yeah.
turn on, when you know it's
It
wrong.
was very strange.
Tune
It was
in on
very
Wednesday
strange.
to find out what confused Oscar.
What confused Oscar?
That's a good teaser.
Yo no sé, señor.
That's right.
Thank you guys.
Right.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.
being on.
Bye.
Thanks.